And the body keeps the score, right? That's another phrase that I love. The body keeps the score. The body tells the truth. It literally cannot lie. If you're determined to grow and become a better version of yourself, then you have to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror. You probably heard me talk about the mirror. And the mirror can represent all kinds of things. It can be a mentor or a trusted friend who can give you an honest reflection of yourself. It can point out blind spots you don't see. It might be throwing yourself into a Spartan race and going through the course and realizing that you don't really quite have the upper body strength to do a lot of those requirements of that race. There's a whole bunch of ways for us to look at the mirror, but essentially what the mirror represents is how I see myself and what's true. Because there's a perception I have without looking in the mirror of how my hair looks and how I look and present. And then there's the honesty of the mirror when I actually stand in front of it and realize, damn, my hair is a hot mess today. So one thing I wanted to share is we're stepping into dojo season for the Rising Man community, getting ready to step back into the dojo for 4 days, is the beauty of the martial arts and why the martial arts has been such an important foundational component in my own growth and in my leadership work, why we bring martial arts principles and practices into the dojo space. Because if there's one mirror that has given me more information about how I show up in the world and how I operate, it's martial arts. I'll never forget the first time I was in a capoeira class and I was paired with somebody and we were doing a drill. And then they said, okay, now we're going to have a roda, which is a circle where 2 people at a time step in and essentially have an improvisational duel with each other, right? It's playful and it's competitive, but not excessively violent. So I remember stepping in there and feeling like, okay, I've got this. I've been here for an hour in this first class. I'm an athlete, so I can move my body. And man, just the amount of energy that it took to show up that way. I way overestimated how fit I was. I thought that I was clever and faster than this woman that I was partnered with, and I was wrong. She kicked my butt. But there were also some deeper layers that I learned about myself in being in the practice of capoeira and other martial arts over the years. One, for example, is that when I first got into martial arts, I was very good at getting away from an attack. I was really good at stepping away from and evading, which is a big part of capoeira and an essential part of all martial arts, is knowing how to defend and dodge to protect yourself. But when the opportunity arose for me to go on the attack, I would more often than not revert to a defensive position or stepping away, creating space between myself and my opponent. And as I looked at that deeper, especially through the lens of leadership, I saw that, wow, this is a reflection of the places in my life where I'm not willing to take a risk. I'm not willing to step forward and risk taking a punch to have the opportunity to advance my energy forward. This is a really common one. I see this with a lot of guys who come through dojo or who are just getting started on their martial arts journey. When I don't have the confidence that I can go in and take a punch and survive a hit to the face, then I'm not going to be willing to do that. My body's going to say, nope, let's back up. Let's step away from this adversity or challenge in front of us. Because if I step forward and I don't know what I'm doing, I might get hurt. Now, seeing how that shows up in my life, where am I not willing to step forward and face rejection? Step forward and face failure. Step forward and face off with, I'm not ready for that. I need to go back and do more work before I can step up to that level. It was such a good mirror. And there's one thing about the body is that the body doesn't lie. The body cannot lie. I can come up with really clever words. I can use my speech and I can train my language and communication skills to spit a really good game. But as soon as you put on gloves and you throw somebody out in the ring, the body will always tell the truth. And you watch prize fighters who compete, you can tell who was the more prepared fighter in a fight sometimes. You could see that somebody put in more energy and effort into their preparations when the fight time came. Because you can only muster up so much adrenaline in the moment, you can't compensate for a lack of preparation. And the body keeps the score, right? That's another phrase that I love. The body keeps the score. The body tells the truth. It literally cannot lie when you put the body through certain situations and circumstances. So I share this here because I know that many people don't have a relationship with the martial arts. A lot of people think that it's really impressive kicks and feats of physicality that are foreign to a lot of us on this planet. But it's so much deeper than that. It's a way of looking at yourself in the mirror. It's a way of experiencing how you interact with adversity, how you interact with an opponent. Because an opponent is really just a representation of the challenge that's in front of you in your life. Every single one of us is our greatest adversary. But when we're sparring with somebody or we're going through martial arts drills and practices with somebody else, it gives us an opportunity to see how I'm going to show up when adversity comes at me in the real world. Even if it's not in the form of another person. It might just be my life circumstances. Am I going to shy away and try to dodge and duck and hide from the next attack? Or can I practice leaning into, blending with that energy, receiving a punch so that I can also deliver one as well? These are the types of lessons and exercises and experiences we can only have when we put ourselves in those situations. And obviously, this is a huge invitation for you guys to consider coming to Dojo, where we're going to put our bodies through these experiences and see what shows up. What is generated for you when you're in that situation? You got to put yourself in that situation to see how you're going to respond. You have to see what it's like to have something flying at your head to know, how am I going to respond? And then to practice, how would I like to respond the next time that happens? That's where this element of practice comes in. So I wanted to share that today. The mirror of martial arts is one of the most amazing mirrors that I've had access to in my life. It requires devotion. It requires being committed to showing up and looking at myself honestly in that mirror, because I could also choose to look the other way on that and to not admit that I was ducking from and hiding from punches and kicks because I was afraid. But if I can admit that and acknowledge that within myself and accept it, then I can choose to respond differently moving forward. So if you want to get access to the mirror of the martial arts and to explore and experience yourself in a way you never have before, to grow as a leader, to become a more embodied and grounded human for all of your relationships and everywhere it matters in your life, then come join us for Dojo, May 4th through 7th here in Austin, Texas. I can't wait to get back in the dojo with you guys who are going to come out and join. It's going to be a powerful group. It's going to be a really powerful 4 days. So go to risingman.org/dojo, get your seat reserved and registered, and I'll see you there.